All right, so you know where you're having your event. You know when your event is. It's got a name, you've got a logo, you've negotiated an amazing deal with the venue. How do you get the word out? That is a great question. How do you get the word out? The first thing I'd say is this: social media. Social media, social media, social media. So many people are on it, and you can get to people that you would never otherwise be able to contact or be able to interact with. Social media is your best friend when it comes to advertising. Do a Facebook event, do Instagram, do Facebook live videos, do whatever you can to get into, because everyone's using their phones all the time, to get into the hands of the people that you're wanting to have there. So social media is the first thing I would say in getting the word out. The second thing I would say is local churches. Local churches. Now, I want to talk to you really briefly about getting the word out via pastors. If you're doing these regional events, I'm going to believe that one of the things you're fighting for is unity in the church, unity across the churches. I want to say this: when you go and you approach senior pastors in your area, or ministers or priests, reverends, when you approach them with your idea of how you're going to awaken their area, be prepared for some resistance. Be prepared for some resistance, but don't be discouraged. And I say that because you're most likely coming at this with the heart of an evangelist, a bit of an apostolic heart as well, and you're going to be approaching people that are more teacher shepherds. Their job is what? Their job is to shepherd their sheep, to shepherd their flock. And so naturally, many pastors, many shepherds, in a Western context, we're big on teacher shepherd, senior pastors. Many shepherds are going to look at you and say, hands off my sheep. They're actually just doing their job. Pastors are going to be protective. Don't let bitterness get in your heart about your local pastors. Why? Because you're actually fighting for unity. The devil is going to try and bring disunity to you and to your own heart. And he's going to want to have you bag out the pastors that aren't jumping on board. And if you do that, you're simply contributing to disunity, which is the very thing you're trying to see broken. In my marriage, it was so funny. The enemy was like, right. I remember my wife saying to me after our second event, she said, our marriage is like the worst it's been. And I said, what is going on? And she said, it's a strategy of the enemy. We're fighting for unity. He wants to bring disunity in our marriage. So we got together, we prayed, we got friends to pray for us. Our marriage has been amazing since. But I want to encourage you or warn you, don't buy into the very disunity you're trying to break. The very suspicion, the very slander, the very thing that, because there's a reason your local churches haven't united. So don't buy into that and fight it as you seek to bring unity. Get the word out with a good heart. Protect your heart, because if the devil can get your heart, he can get your mouth, and you don't want that to happen, because you'll start a fire. But if God has your heart, he'll also get your mouth, and you will set your region on fire for Jesus. It's good stuff. I want to encourage you, go low, get to know your pastors, pray for them, bless them, and you'll be surprised at the amount of pastors that if you will give them time and you will ask them what's actually going on in their region, what have they been sensing, how long have they been pastoring, what have they seen work in the area, what's not working, what are the issues in the area. If you would give them time and listen to them and serve them and bless them and come in and say, look, my heart is for our region and I know that's your heart as well. How can we work together? How can we walk together? I think you'll find that local pastors will help you get the word out. And they might do that through their church news, through their church bulletins, through their church websites. So use social media, but also leverage off relationships with churches and with pastors. And the last thing I would say is word of mouth. Get those that believe in what you're doing to start speaking to their neighbors, to start speaking to their friends, and to start inviting people in. We also, when it comes to getting the word out, we also hit the streets. We did street evangelism and street outreach, and we would talk to people not with the intent of bringing them to our event, with the intent of demonstrating the kingdom and loving them. We would talk to them, and then we would find that as we spoke with them, it would often naturally come up, oh, and by the way, we're doing this Awaken the Valley event. These are the details. We'd love to see you there. And we actually found people came off the street just by approaching them, getting the word out in that way. So I encourage you, make sure you jump on social media, Facebook event, Facebook Live, Instagram, all of that, super helpful. If you need a hand, just click on Let's Talk. So social media, your local churches, and just get the word out mouth to mouth on the streets. Get your friends to be talking about it, texting about it, and just be encouraged that it's God that builds the church.